Thanks, Paul and Sharon and Nick and team for putting on this fantastic conference. It's my favourite conference of the year, and that's because of you and the audience, my very loyal and faithful and long-standing shareholders in a couple of entities. So those that aren't on the register, hopefully in 15 minutes you will be. So I want to just take you through the business on our energy transitional mine ownership side and mining services. But we really have built a platform here, and it's really time to supercharge this growth. So I want to take you through, and Grady mentioned a legal team. I do have a legal team and I do pay them a lot of money, so please read the disclaimer. But this is the key slide for me and what we've been doing for 3 or 4 years. We've established a great platform to be the preeminent copper and base metal company on the ASX, with unique capability to develop and unlock opportunities, both organically and inorganically. And what better time to have that platform, guys? 4 of my peers are leaving the ASX or just left in the last week. You got $5 billion of ASX capital in the base metal space that's about to get recirced into this industry. 4 of my peers. It's probably about 40% of the sector's been taken over in 3 months. So if you want to play this space of copper and base metals, you got Sandfire at $6.5 billion. Brendan Harris and team have done a fantastic job in that business. Botswana and Spain, not Australia. The next company you play in that space is Develop at $1 billion. Below me, there's a handful of companies that are doing great work out in industry, but probably are a bit low of the radar of institutional support, which is probably the big end of town that drives your share price. So fantastic time to be on the ASX in base metals with very, very little competition for people, talent and opportunities. Our 5-year business plan, we're running hot through this. We're ticking off the boxes and the pillars very quickly. Our DNA capabilities installed. We've got our asset base. We'll be producing in excess of 50,000 tonne of copper equivalent in the coming years. Anyone that wants lithium, we've got exposure to that. And we've got long mine lives. We're not starting these assets with a 2-year mine plan, which I did last time, and we're on the production hamster wheel, and we looked like a duck on water, but it was hard work. We got runway before the plane takes off, a long runway, which is fantastic. Our mining services division is built. I'll talk about that a little bit more, but that's flying. Value creation in the last 3 or 4 years. We only just started. Again, we've done a lot of work to build this platform, capability, DNA, opportunities and balance sheet. We've got the trifecta of all that in place now. As Paul mentioned, we've got in excess of a couple $100 million on balance sheet for what we did in June. Our enterprise value is only a bill. For that, you get 2 world-class copper zinc assets. You get a lithium exposure, and you also get a mining services division. The big end of town's starting to work this out, team. There's a lot of people in the room that have worked this out. Again, $5 billion of capital is going to get recirced very, very soon. Big end of town, BlackRock, biggest fund in the world, went from under substantial about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now they've popped up at 6.4%. Expect those type of institutions to keep buying. When we did our raise, we got some amazing household names that you've probably invested your super money in, are on the register. They dipped their toe on the water, but as we keep de-risking and developing and de-risking the company, you watch that buying come in, and obviously myself at 20% as the major shareholder. Got a lot of tax losses. Pretty cool to have tax losses. Everyone knows the benefit of that. So when we start producing a lot of profits from next year onwards, and we've got to pay back debt and continue to grow this business and do what we want to do, well, unfortunately, we're not having to dip our hand in our pocket and give the ATO money along the way. So a great position to be in. Again, de-risk our balance sheet and opportunity to grow the business without the ATO on our ass. Now, the assets that underpin the value of the company. First of all, you've heard me talk about this a lot. It's people, people, people. We've got an amazing, that is our flagship asset, our DNA, our capabilities built, our senior management, our operational teams, the capability. We've got 650 champions in this business. They're all shareholders. They've all got a hell of a lot of equity, probably a lot more than people in this room. So they're more incentivised than anyone, and are very much aligned with shareholders in this room greatly. Senior management have got 5 years of LTIs up front, and all our workforces out in the mines have got a big chunk of equity, and that's worth a lot for them. So good luck anyone trying to pinch our staff as well. We've created a lot of culture, really important, amazing team environment, and a big shout out to my crews. There'll be people that are knocked off night shift over in Western Australia listening to this. Hopefully the ones in New South Wales are in bed and waking up for the night shift later on. But big shout out to the team that do the blood, sweat and tears and create the value that we all are benefiting from here in this room today. But we've built that. We'll probably be close to 1,000 people this time next year, and you brought the conference forward in August, so I'll try and make 1,000 employees by August with what we're doing internally. On to Woodlawn, so we're commissioning, ramp-up phase, expanding production, growing mine life. I want to touch on these 3 slides. So our processing is going amazingly well. This is a 3-stage concentrator. We produce copper, lead and zinc with precious metals scattered through gold and silver. The commissioning is going really well. We're into ramp-up phase. The crusher is doing above nameplate. We're commissioning on about a 750,000 tonne per annum run rate. We want to get all those operating procedures and parameters and recoveries of con and specs right before we start ramping up. We don't want to spew metal out in the tailings dam and never get it back. We've stress tested the mill. We've already gone above nameplate of 850 and beyond. That's gone very well. And the most important part we're focused on, and we're really seeing great visibility, and these charts are taken away and have a look in your leisure. This is the real improvement. What we wanted to see was getting the recoveries out of the metal into the con, and that's tracking extremely well, and it's probably going a bit better than we expected. Anyone that wants to know anything about processing and metallurgy, I've got my new recruit, Nathan Stoidis, sitting in the booth, so please go out and have a chat to him. He's our GM of processing and metallurgy. Took me 15 years to get that guy internally in our business. He is the world guru on metallurgy and processing. So Nathan's joined us. People like that don't join you unless you've got an exciting business portfolio and growth options. So please, he's a guru. He can explain these charts better than I can. And the last 2 points, we're producing saleable concentrate from day one, copper, lead and zinc. We've already shipped off a heap of product. We've got money. It works. So it's been going extremely well. Mining side, we're smashing that. All the critical infrastructure has been installed, pumping power and vents. The monthly development, so the development we put into the mine underground is a super, super critical part of building any underground mine. Is the development. So we're averaging about 490 metres per for a single jumbo at Woodlawn, which is unheard of on the east coast of Australia. So that's amazing. We've got 3 years of production now fully developed from a capital perspective. I've never had that in my career. I think last year when I sat here, I talked about 2 years. We're now 3 years ahead. We've got a lot of spatial separation between production up here and development here. We don't interact. That's super important again. Huge spatial separation on our production and development activities. Stoping sequence is now getting into full swing. Paste fill's up and running. We're ramping up that mining and we'll be steady state in the mining side at the start of next calendar year. So that's going extremely, extremely well. And as you can see, a lot of stope tonnes are starting to come out. Growth. Why do we like growth? Growth creates value, and I think everyone in this room wants value because value equals share price growth. So for us, we're in the next phase of this business. It really is the growth phase. So part of what we raise money, we saw opportunities at Woodlawn to grow production. So we're looking at that now. We're putting a second jumbo in there now. Literally in the next week, the second jumbo starts. So that enables us to keep pushing capital development along strike in and out of the page and at depth. So I get more production sources online and more flexibility in mine planning, because you do have stuff up underground, you want other areas to go to. So that's off and running, and also it'll be doing a drill drive, which I'll talk about next slide. There's a lot of in-mine material there that was left behind by previous owners, about 3.9 million tonnes. We're doing work to potentially convert a lot of that into our mine plan in the coming years. So a huge value creation piece. It's not in our mine plan at the moment. And the other thing is I've got my head geo in the room too. So again, he knows more about geology on these things than I do. We're starting to drill, I think, Luke, in November on the satellite historical mine that used to feed Woodlawn Mill. Used to do about 250, 300,000 tonne a year of top-up feed. So we're going to drill that in November. Amazing deposit, all great intercepts below it. We think there's an opportunity to bring that online in the coming years and again, grow the production. On to growth again. Part of the reason we raised the money, people haven't seen it yet, is anyone that followed me before, we create a lot of value through the drill bit. That's one of the best ways you can create value. The return on that invested capital is just stunning. We're about to embark on that in develop. People really haven't seen us create money with a drill bit. Why? Well, we think we can take Woodlawn from a 10-year mine plan, which we run out of time and money in 2023. We're going to put the drills back in. We've already got one drill now doing grade control and a bit of extensional, and watch this space on that. That's hitting shit everywhere. But our second drill rig comes in later this year, earlier next year, and that really is the growth phase. We want to grow this from a 10-year mine plan to a 15-year mine plan. Why do I want to do that? Well, go back to my original slide and I'm flicking through it. Two of my ASX peers, one just left 2 weeks ago, the other one's going, Mac. They both just got taken out for 2.2 bill Aussie and 2 bill Aussie for 15-year mine plans on the same style, size and scale assets of what we've got. It's pretty simple maths when you do a 15-year mine plan on Woodlawn, what value you can create. I'll let you guys do the numbers on that. On Sulphur Springs, we're accelerating. This is probably half the reason we raised money is I want to accelerate this project. I want to get it into production. I want to catch that wave. We haven't caught a commodity wave yet, guys. The gold guys are, happy days. But the copper and base metals haven't caught that wave yet. You need to be into production to catch that wave. It's super, super important. So we want to accelerate Sulphur Springs. DNA of this asset, it's a new zinc and copper discovery, about 60-40 up in the Pilbara, is greenfields. This is what I recapped the business on 4 years ago. We put out a DFS, we're updating that now. The design's been done, schedule's getting dumped, so the mining costs are getting recut. We're going to do bottom-up mining instead of top-down, probably grow our production by 20%. So we've got to update the DFS, the size of the mill. Obviously it's going to produce way more metal than what we produced in 2 years ago in the DFS. So expect updated metal flow, obviously bigger mill, obviously a little bit more capex with a bigger mill. But since we did that study 2 years ago, one of our biggest off-site costs is treatment costs for zinc. They've gone from 260 US a tonne down to 60 US a tonne. Copper's gone from 80 down to negative bloody 15 at the moment. People pay you to process copper at the moment. It's crazy. So and also commodity prices have gone up a lot since mid-23. So you could even do a back of the envelope on our old DFS and I'm sure you're going to end up with a much higher number. So that will come out in December quarter. We're really excited about what that looks like. We've already started activities on site, guys. We've got 41 million bucks in the budget this year. We've already flattened off the site. We've set it up for being able to build a processing plant. We're cutting the box cut as we speak. Come and have a look at some photos in the booth. I'll show you off my phone. Back up there again next week for a couple of days. And we should be cutting the underground in the next 2 to 4 weeks. So really excited about that. What we want to do is we want to push a decline down to, sorry, I'm getting the size. We want to push a decline down to 350 vertical metres below surface. If I do that, I've got 10 million tonne of ore above me. I've got an 8-year mine plan. I want to grow this to a 15-year mine plan. Again, pretty simple maths. A couple of my peers just got taken out for 2 bill each with 15-year mine plans. So again, it's not rocket science. Anyone that wants lithium exposure, we've got a great project. I can turn this into a mine in 3 or 4 months. So if Timmy Gorder's in the room and he's short of feed at Liontown, at his amazing asset, Kathleen Valley, I can dig this up, truck it down the road and help out and we'll share the profits. Underground mining services, again, we started this business 3 years ago, guys, and we just turned over $212.6 million last financial year. Who starts up a business 3 years ago from 0 to 212. That's an amazing team effort, what people have done. It's our culture and our capability and our cash flow, and it really is the jewel in the crown. It's a bit like MinRes, the mining service division is the jewel in the crown, no different here. So Bellevue going very, very well. That mine is exceptional. It really turned a corner earlier this year. People have seen that quarter on quarter. I'll let them tell their story, but an amazing gold asset. As we start getting into the guts of the ore body, that thing's going to spew out cash. So I really love that story. We've identified a lot of opportunities. We're working on that. I've never seen the industry so busy. Like anyone that comes and have chats with me, I've been travelling for so much in the last 3 or 4 weeks and still going to keep doing next 3. There's so much work on there. I don't know how the industry is going to cater. At gold at 55, 5,600 Aussie, guys, every single historical open pit has an underground hanging off it. Just put that, and then plus everyone's expanding their own assets. And plus there's other commodities coming online. So what a perfect storm to be in mining services. Now, last 2 slides are my most important. I want to take you on a little journey. Is sometimes you need to look at history before you look in the future. And one thing, I started doing this a couple of months ago, and then I was on the plane last night coming in from site to here, and I went, it was just eerily. So I looked at the first 4 years of my old business to my new business. And this great audience here, when I come here in mid-2010, well, 10 cents a share. Over the next 4 years, this is the share price growth year on year. So First year we went up. Thanks very much for the audience on that. The next year we went up a little bit. Year 3 we actually went backwards. People forget this. I had 4 plus 50% retractions in Northern Star. So those that hang on and I met someone today that still got their shares from 37 cents to 21, 22 bucks today. Well done. And there's a number of people in the audience like that. But over that first 4 years, when we only had one asset back then, we built our culture, our DNA, our capability, our balance sheet in that first 4 years. I tracked that year on year, and then the other purple side is what Develop's done since the start at 40 cents for the last 4 years. It's bloody eerily, I reckon it's crazy. Like, it's so similar. It's not, even the year that we went backwards was the same as my history. And the total shareholder return after 4 years, the first 4 years of both entities, is 1,100%. Which is fantastic. You'd all be happy with 1,100% return in 4 years. But what I want to take you through is the next slide, which is, I think, the most important part, because you haven't missed the journey. So that was great the first 4 years. We went from 10 cents to 60 or $1, whatever it was. That was our accumulation phase. Now this chart here is cumulative. So year on year, we've gone up. Obviously year 3, we went backwards. But at the end, we're like 15,000% return. Don't get me wrong, that's at $15.50. It's now 21 bucks. So if you hold on another 6 years, you would have made another 50%. But I just want to emphasise this really important part. That was when we built the DNA, the capability, the balance sheet team, all that sort of stuff. That first 4 years, that was great, 1,100% return. But that's when I started buying assets at the end of year 4. I bought my first asset off Barrick, 60 cents a share. The next 5, 6 years, we went from 50 cents a share to $15.50. And that was a much bigger return than that first 4 years. So please, don't be the investor that misses that next leg up, because we're following the same track record and the same thing. We're playing in a different commodity, going back, and there's no opposition, guys. There's no opposition. It's quite interesting on the ASX. Way different when I was in gold. I had a lot of opposition. Evolution were chopping at my heels every time. Now it's a very different stage. So most important slide of the day, and hopefully of the conference. So please come and see us, and thank you very much.